Dude, I've spent like the past 15 minutes trying to find a spot to record, right? Outside. Find a spot to record. I've been trying to get footage to like put over the video while I talk. And I couldn't do it. It was just too hot outside and I don't have my car, so I couldn't like drive and get footage. So yeah, that's great. I was trying to set up the camera outside and I had two options, right? Either you're in the sun and like your skin's glowing, but you're also getting blinded. That's great. You know, I was like, I'll look good, but I'm also being blinded. The second option was like go in the shadow, but I completely disappear, gone. So it'd be like essentially talking to an unlocked character. I don't really know. So I just decided to come back in the house, but I wanted to talk about this guy. You guys know what this is, the Bible. More specifically, I wanted to talk about being able to communicate with God. And kind of prayer, I guess that could fit into what I'm going to talk about. So you don't know how to communicate, or you're afraid to communicate with God. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, what's up?
I'll give you my story. Let's see. So I've pretty much, my childhood, I only went to church because my grandmother drugged me by the ear to church every Sunday. I mean, you really couldn't imagine a 7-year-old being interested in something like that anyway. I knew who God was. I just, I wasn't thinking too deep into it. I was a kid, and I just went because I was pretty much forced to. And I did that all the way from like 7 to maybe 12. That's a lie. From 7 all the way to like 15. Now, at some point, my nanny did stop taking me to church with her. So I kind of transitioned from being forced to go to church, and I started going to Wednesday church like Wednesday church every Wednesday. I didn't go because I necessarily wanted to learn about God. I mean, that should be the reason you go. But at 13, puberty's around. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be girls there, and my best friend, like me and my best friend, were literally going to church. And there was free food. You got to socialize with people, play games, like all the stuff that like a preteen, early teen would be interested in. And I started going to church for that reason from the time I was 13 to maybe like 15. Once I turned 16, I was kind of like, I kind of want to go and figure out why we love this guy, who he is, and just learn. I was like, I've been in church my entire life for the wrong reason, essentially. I was either forced to go, or I just went because I was like, there's going to be cute girls there. And that's just how it was. So eventually, I started going to church to figure out who God was. But at the same time, at 16 years old, some people get this a little earlier. I was really battling with lust, and I ain't got to go into that because y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Fight back, nigga! Fight back, nigga! Fight back! Fight back!
I was very ashamed of it. Of course, I knew it was wrong because at that point, I kind of knew like sinful nature, lust, corn, that type of stuff. And I didn't know how to go to God about it because at this point, I didn't really know who he was. I was just going to church because cute girls, best friend, video games, snacks. And I never really picked up on how to communicate with God about those issues. And I think I was battling with that for like a year. And one night, I stopped going to church because I was so, before I even get to the second part, I'm going to tell you guys this. I stopped going to church because I was so ashamed. And I felt like a hypocrite to like do these things and then try to go to God about it. Like, I know I'm in the wrong. I just didn't feel like I could go to God about it at some point. and I felt like a hypocrite for continuing to go to church. I just felt like I wasn't worthy. Yeah, I didn't go to church for like a good year, maybe 9 months. It was a long time that I didn't go for me. And dude, I remember one day I was just defeated. I was like, I can't keep like this cycle. It has to stop. I was like, I haven't prayed about it. I haven't told anyone about it. One day I just decided to go to church, just one random Wednesday night, and we went there, or not we, but I went there. And lo and behold, we're talking about prayer, like communicating with God about your issues randomly. And I was like, dude, I haven't even touched my Bible in almost a year. I haven't prayed in a year. I haven't even thought about church or God in general in a year. And like, I go to church this one day and it's what I need. And it was crazy. Like, it was just insane. I was like, this is exactly what I need. I don't know how to talk to God. And it just kind of made me a little emotional. But yeah, we go, and long story short, I'm not going to explain the entire night, but he just pretty much, to sum it all up, he's like, you don't have to talk to God a certain way. Like, you can talk to God the way that you need to talk to God. I had, like, during that year break, I think before I took that break, another reason why I felt unworthy is because when I went to church, I would see how other people prayed, and it was like just so sophisticated, like on their hands and knees, you know, and like just the way that they would pray. I knew I wasn't capable of talking like that. It just wasn't who I was. Like, I don't know how to describe it. My personality did not match that. I was like, I can't get on my hands and knees, and I just don't pray like that. Like, you know, when I'm talking to God, like, I have to be open, I have to be myself. And I'm not saying that those people weren't being themselves. That's just how they prayed. But like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like the way that just, I don't know, like the way that most people pray, I didn't feel like that was my way of praying. And I felt like that was the only way to pray. And I was just like, dog, I'm way too immature to do that. Like, I didn't feel like I was worthy. It was just such a sophisticated way of praying. And, you know, so that was like another thing that happened before the break. But let's get back to, you know, where I was. I went back to church that night, and the pastor was talking about prayer. And he was like, dude, you don't have to do all of this like sophisticated stuff. You ain't gotta get on your hands and knees. You don't have to pray this way. He was like, dude, just talk to God like you're talking to yourself. Talk to God like you talk to your homie. Like, you don't have to hide anything from God, like, at all. And I was amazed. And I'm gonna throw this out there real quick. Nowadays, you know, ever since that night when I pray, it's a vent session. Like, I'm just literally yapping about whatever. And that helped my relationship with God literally so much. Like, I'm so much closer, and I can just feel a genuine connection between me and him now that I just yap. I just talk. Like, if God hears me cuss, he hears me cuss. Like, obviously I try not to, but it's like, I'm only human. I know who I am, you know? So if I drop like maybe a F-bomb, or like I might say the S word, or stub my toe while I'm praying or something like that, or if I see a cute girl that walks by and like I'm like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful or whatnot. I mean, he just hears what I have to say, regardless of what it is or how it comes out. And it's just such a beautiful thing, because like, it's like you're yourself, you know. And I'm just so thankful to God I went back to church that night, and that happened. And so I really just want to encourage you guys, like, dude, you don't have to know anything to pray. You don't have to, you know everything in the Bible to pray. You don't have to be clean off of drugs to pray or go to God or go to church in general. You don't have to do any of that. I saw something on YouTube. I'll put it up real quick.
If I become a Christian, do I have to stop smoking pot? Somebody just perked up like, huh? What? Right. And well, here, the pastor looked back and went, no. Somebody just went, amen. I like this, right? The kid just looks at him and goes, no, you're old. You don't understand what I'm talking about, right? He says, Pastor, if I become a Christian, do I have to stop smoking marijuana? In case you didn't know what pot was, right? And the pastor looks back and goes like, no. Kid's like, all right. So the kid reaches in his jacket, pulls out a fatty rolled in a paper towel tube, all right? Do they still call them fatties? They did in the 80s. Anyway, so he pulls out this huge doobie, right? He goes like, if I become a Christian, do I have to give this up? And the pastor goes, no. And the kid goes, I don't understand. He goes, you're right, you don't understand. Let me ask you a question. You have to get cleaned up to go take a shower. I said, no, you get in the shower and that cleans you up. Same with Jesus. You don't try to clean up your life and be a better person in order that you can be with Jesus. You just be with Jesus, you follow Jesus. How about this? If anything needs to get cleaned up in your life, the two of you will work that out and he will point that out to you and you will actually agree with him and then you'll clean it up together. How about that?
So yeah, you don't have to be clean. You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to have a certain personality to go to God about anything. You can literally just talk, and I encourage you guys to just talk. You don't have to do all that fancy, whatever, I don't know, I considered it fancy and sophisticated, but you don't have to do the stereotypical prayer. Like, that's not the only way to pray. Another thing, I discovered this one when I turned 18. When I turned 18, I realized that there were so many issues that I had internally that I picked up from relationships, the way I grew up, trauma, being bullied in school. Sorry, guys. Sweet tea was crazy. But so many things that I just had picked up in life, and once I turned 18, it hit me. I was like, dude, like I'm kind of realizing who I am right now, and the things that I have going on, the things that I am battling. And it was hard to pray. Like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Yeah, it was so hard to pray. I'd get ready to pray, and like the pain of having to bring it back up just made me not want to, so I didn't. And I discovered this, and it might be kind of weird, but whenever I got that way, guys, I would get my Bible. I wouldn't even open it. I would just have it to feel like God was there, and I would sit in silence. And I would just let God, in a way, scan me. I would just be in his presence because he knew what was on my heart. God knows what's on your heart, what's on your brain. He knows your desires. He knows everything about you. And because of that, I was like, I don't even have to pray. Like, it's so hard to pray right now. I just need to sit in silence and just let God just hold me in a way. I just need to let God just read me. He knows what I need, I don't have to say anything. And I would just sit there in silence for however long I needed to. I wouldn't use the voice in my head. I would just literally just sit in silence, just sit there and just be with God, man. And it was a very, very touching experience. I don't know what I've been on here yapping about for the past 11 minutes and 46 seconds, but I just felt the need to come on here and just, I guess, tell you guys, like that it helps. Not everybody knows how to pray. Some people feel insecure. Some people feel bad. They feel like they can't go to God because they've already messed up so much. No, it's not the case, dude. You can always go to God no matter what. I hope maybe you guys learned something from this. See you next time.
Don't take this way too far.
Kaya, are you locked in there?
Yeah.
You ain't, for real?
Yeah.
Kaya, I don't have Onyx in there because of the spiders.